Fernandez from Texas. What part of Texas are you in? Actually, you know what? I'm going to let Art introduce himself and tell us where he's from.
Hi, everybody. My name is Artemus, and I am a musician here in Dallas, Texas, United States of America.
America.
America. But yeah, Dallas, Texas, baby.
Well, you got your northern neighbor here, Canada, calling you.
Yeah. You're the first Canadian I think I've spoken with, so this will be interesting.
There we go. Thank you, Reddit.
Right? Bringing the world together. How about that?
Exactly. So, you sent me a track.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to say the title for them, let them know.
Yeah, so I sent you a single that I released in November called Somewhere in the Dark, which is as 80s as my sound has ever gotten. I'm wearing a Phil Collins shirt. I'm very inspired by Phil Collins, and I'm actually in a Phil Collins tribute band here in Dallas. So
that's cool, man. I love Phil Collins.
Yeah, who doesn't, right? Yeah. So I've always kind of gravitated towards like the 80s musically. And so a few years back, I started kind of writing this song, and it just evolved into this like synth hook and kind of going through all the, without even realizing it, all the motifs of the 80s. And this was 3 years ago, maybe a little longer than that. And then The Weeknd released his song Blinding Lights, which is a certified banger if I've ever heard one. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, the 80s are really popular right now. I guess this would be a good time to release this track, wouldn't it? I tend to sit on music for a little bit until my hand is kind of forced, whether it's my producing partner. He tends to just take the music from me, mix it and master it, and then just be like, here, it's ready, just release it.
I used to be the same way when I made music. I'd sit on it for a while, and then I'd be like, all right, I guess I could release this now.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you hold on to it because you have this idea in your head that, okay, this is going to be it. This is going to be the song that breaks me, but I'm not ready yet. Of course, it never does. It's never the one that's going to get you famous, but I don't know. It's just...
It's always the one you least expect that gets you famous.
Yeah. I think that's how it's going to happen. I'm working on an EP right now, and
what's the name of the EP?
So it's going to be called Thieves.
Okay.
It's going to be either 4 or 5 songs. I haven't settled on how many songs I'm going to include on it, but it's my first EP. I've never released a collection of songs before, and it's definitely going in a different direction. I'm going more towards away from the synth sound, more into a indie rock, more Laurel Canyon sound.
Okay.
That's just been inspiring me. I guess that's what isolation here in America did to us. Everybody kind of...
COVID stuff is no joke.
Yeah, no. So last year I just spent all year indoors just writing these songs on acoustic guitar, and
there you go.
And this is what the product is. But yeah, the song that I really feel good about, I wrote in like 10 minutes. So I'm like, this is going to be it, isn't it?
It could be.
Yeah, I could spend years on a song, and then this one that I wrote in 10 minutes.
But
what made you start making music?
Yeah, pardon me?
What made you stop making music, if I can ask?
Just going through some mental health issues, and
right.
I went through a little bit of like breakdown, and I just deleted my catalog and said I'm done with music.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's been like about a decade now, and I just came back and started with the podcast, and
yeah,
I've still been writing.
Flowing.
Yeah, I've still been writing hip hop lyrics for since I've stopped, but I haven't actually recorded any. But I'm planning on myself releasing a new EP, a comeback EP soon. So I
Nice.
might need some acoustic guitar riffs from you.
Let me know if you need any drums. I can definitely help you out with that. I'm mostly a drummer. I like to say I'm a drummer who just so happens to play
I
guitar.
like drums. If I need some hard drums, I'll ask you.
Yeah, right on, man. So is that kind of what you the guest that you have normally? Is it normally the hip hop community?
Well, I try to get different genres and different types of artists, like painters and photographers and stuff,
Yeah.
as much as I can. But since I was so well connected in the hip hop community when I was doing it, it was just easy to start my season off with a bunch of like hip hop artists. So,
Right.
but a lot of them have come to show that they're very vulnerable to the questions asked on the podcast about mental health and substance abuse. And I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't ask for a better response from the guests and the listeners, because it's just there to help and inspire people. So that's the
Oh
main goal.
yeah, absolutely. And here it seems within the last 10 years, we've had this outpouring of honesty from hip hop artists where I feel a lot of them have dropped the bravado and they're not afraid to kind of show their vulnerability, which
And I
has
think
been
that's
really nice.
to do with the new generation being so aware of like suicide and things like that these days. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
the older generation kind of did take a lesson from the younger generation of being more empathetic towards the stigma of mental health and things like that. So I'll give them that. I mean, and I respect the hustle that they have. Some of them are great. The music, I'm still stuck on 90s type hip hop, early 2000s hip hop, but what are you going to do? I mean, everything changes. But
Yeah.
what would you define yourself as genre-wise? What would you say?
So I like to joke that I make sad boy music, boy with an I. My music has always, from I was in a starting off in a progressive rock band, all the way up to now where I'm making more indie folk, indie pop influenced music.
Right.
My songs have always been like an outlet for me to work through whatever emotions I'm feeling.
Right.
Whether it was back in the day working through the death of my mother through
Oh, sorry
lyrics.
about that.
Oh no, it's okay. She suffered from mental illness, and
Well, rest in peace.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was my senior year of high school, and I just kind of put it all in song, and
That's the
I.
same thing with me, man. Most of my music, it has a lot of like sadness to it, and a lot of like R.I.P. to DMX as well. And I kind of had that aggression of like DMX kind of, and like a Joe Budden-esque like mixture where I'd talk about my own personal life on a record and not really give a shit about what people think about it. And I'm the same way now with my podcast. I'll talk and I'll explain and I'll be honest about my struggles, just the same as the guests, so that way the listeners realize that I'm not just some guy behind the mic trying to monetize or something.
Trying to exploit,
glorify and exploit like mental health. Like I'm usually the one that says, like, in Canada we have that Bell Let's Talk Day. I don't know if you heard of it.
What is that?
It's Bell Media is a company, or cell phone and cable company and internet company. You do like a mental health day, but it's every tweet and hashtag with Bell Let's Talk. It's 5 cents donated to mental health institutions.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
but those
I didn't know
companies
that.
aren't really giving that full amount to the institutions. They're monetizing off it, So I'm doing a nonprofit podcast. So the only way I'm making any type of money is if I end up making merch and sell merch, or if I do a fundraiser, a showcase, or an art showcase of some sort. So I'm slowly working on trying to figure out how I can monetize, but not it be from the podcast itself.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
sorry
it's
to
just, you
interrupt. Yeah,
gotta.
I definitely had the sad boy type music too. So I think me and you can make maybe a cool song where it's just a couple of sad boys.
Right? And I think on my Twitter profile, my bio even says um, "sad music for happy people,"
I'll follow
which
you,
is
by the way.
somewhat tongue in cheek.
I'll follow you on Twitter. I'm
Right
on
on.
you the same handle as my Instagram. Everything that I have is the same handle as my Instagram. Thank
Mhm.
God.
See, it's just easier that way, right?
I know, like everything. People are like, "So what's your Instagram?" On the line with. They're like, "Okay, what's your Facebook?" On the line with.
So, how did you get? Tell me about that name. What's the on the line with? How did you come up with that?
I'm an old school vibe kind of guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I haven't talked on the phone in a while. And I was like, you know what? Like, what's something I could do to incorporate on the line? So my main logo is an old wire telephone connected to our Parliament buildings in
Mm-hmm.
Canada. So basically, it was just me thinking of like being on the phone, but in a new era of technology with the podcast, mics, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just thought of it. I needed a name. I saw like the idea in my head, and I'm like on the line with. And then I saw the logo in my head, and I'm like, hmm. And so I had a friend, sorry, Sammy, make that for me. And then I had another person make another logo for me. It's the one you see as my like profile picture on Instagram. Like it's like the city skyline and then
Mm-hmm.
my name written on it. The guy made it because he was a fan and he wanted to make it fancy. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, thanks.
No, yeah, it's easy to brand. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, the thing is, there's a few on the line with on Spotify and stuff. I don't have a
Mm-hmm.
problem with it because a lot of them include their name with it.
Yeah.
And me, it's just on the line with, hosted by Hanley, not on the line with Hanley.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. Plus, I'm not monetizing on it. So, again, I don't have to worry about the name. I just don't want to get a cease and desist letter from some, like, top artist saying, you have to stop using my podcast name. I'll be like, wow, come on.
Yeah, I'm worried about. So my name Artemis. I'm trying to trademark it. There's an Artemis, a band called Artemis
Right.
in like Sweden or something like that, and it's I think they're. It may not even be a band. It's like I think it's like EDM. I've seen um, their shows pop up on my website a lot
Right.
because it's all through bands in town.
Right.
So sometimes wires get crossed, and I'm like, oh, I'm playing Stockholm. That's neat. So
So,
how did you handle the pandemic? Like mentally, how were you? How did you
uh,
cope?
I mean, I kind of isolated myself before we had
Mm-hmm.
to isolate. Like I'm not like my anxiety and I suffer from agoraphobia, so like I have a hard time going out, but I still do, but it's not like the most joyful time for me, but I mean I do what I can and I deal with my mental health the best I can through like
Mm-hmm.
these conversations and writing music and whatnot, but I dealt with it like everybody else. I tried to stay as clear from it as possible because I live with my parents
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to get them sick. They're older, so
Yeah.
I'm more concerned about my parents than I am about getting it myself or my brother getting it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, it's sad to see how many lives countries like yours and mine because both the numbers in America they're very high, but
Yeah.
Canada for the population, the numbers are like we're in a third wave right now. Like my city's in a lockdown again, like a stay-at-home order again. So like,
you got out of first wave. What's that like?
basically, yeah, we've had 3 waves, but the third wave is like the worst right now. They're saying so, like,
Yeah.
but I mean, I live in the biggest province in the country, so and that obviously means we're gonna have more cases than a
Yeah.
smaller province, like say an East Coast province like Nova Scotia or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know your geography, but
I don't. But I know the major. You know, I know Ottawa where you're at, and I know Nova Scotia, Toronto,
Montreal.
Montreal. Yeah, I know that is at a certain point they'll start speaking French, and then I'm in trouble.
Finally, speaking of Montreal, this show Rum Chats is hosted by Mauvais Garçon. It's a restaurant in Montreal, in Griffintown, Montreal. So if you're ever in Montreal for some reason for a gig and you want to go and get some food,
oh, for sure. Yeah, I hope to travel up to Canada soon, and
definitely.
just
If you're ever
once.
having a gig in Ottawa or Montreal, let me know. It's not far for me. I can come and afterwards we can party.
Right on. Yeah, just got to get all these restrictions lifted first, and I'm halfway through my vaccine, so I'm going to be showing off that card.
Passport.
Yeah.
But
I tell you what though, I think I'm in the minority here, but I think I'm going to keep wearing the mask for no other reason.
Well, I think afterwards, after everything's lifted and things are normal, I think a lot of people are going to wear the masks and they're going to look at China and be like, damn, China, you were right all along.
Yeah. They've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
And it's a good idea.
And we were just like, why did they do that? What's the point? And now we know.
Yeah. And I tell you what, I've liked masks for 2 reasons. One, it's cool to like it's like deciding what shirt am I going to wear? What am I advertising today? What am I showing off today? And
it's crazy how it's become a fashion.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like this whole fashion thing. And 2, you know, sometimes despite being a performer, I do better when I'm projecting energy as opposed to just mingling amongst the masses. So a mask has kind of helped me feel hidden.
Yeah.
And safe.
Why I like it. I don't have to be shown if people are looking and I'm like, they're like, is that who I think it is? You're just like, nope.
Oh yeah, throw on some sunglasses and you are incognito.
Yeah, you just look like Joe Biden.
Some slick aviators.
Had to throw in an American joke. I mean, you know the competition is always fierce between Canadians and Americans.
Yeah, but you guys keep winning.
Since Texas is basically the size of Canada.
Yeah, Texas is the Canada of the United States. It's everybody calls it that.
But yeah, man, it's definitely been great talking to you on this episode. I'm gonna let you introduce your track one more time, let them know the name of it, and then I guess I'll be becoming a guest on your show.
Yes, you've thankfully accepted my invite to be on my podcast. Which for your viewers out there, I host a Saturday Night Live musical guest review, which has been a lot of fun. So our boy here will be my very first guest, which I'm very excited about. But
Hanley will be the first guest.
Hanley will be the very first guest. But I'm Artemus. Listen to Somewhere in the Dark. Listen to all of my songs. I think there's something out there for everyone.
Of course.
And hopefully I'll be back in a little bit with my EP. Hopefully you'll have me back.
And we'll have you on the podcast talking about it, and we'll have some talk about mental health, and we'll get deeper and dive more deeper into it and focus on that. And it's been great talking to you.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir. All right. Thanks, brother.
Thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
See you guys.